And then for the punchline, switch over to side B. Welcome. Wanna not? Do you remember when that was a thing? Do you remember tapes?
I remember tapes.
I love tapes. I love cassette tapes. I love bulky physical media.
I was watching an episode of The X-Files yesterday in which the MacGuffin was a bunch of government data encoded onto a DAT tape. A DAT tape.
God, hell yes. What the...
You know, a big chunky cassette tape which you slot into your computer, into your big chunky computer. Watching that show is like, oh, it's 1996 and everything is square.
That's true. But I love bulky physical media. I really do. There's something about it. We've just finished in our Doctor Who marathon watching The Horns of Nimon. And it's weird because now it looks like a big old chunky computer stack. Like, you know, a tall tower about 8 foot tall. And yet, year of broadcast, that episode was going out like the tail end of 79. That was probably a state-of-the-art computer. So what they
it was clearly a prime computer.
Clever prime. So what they were doing there was going, hey, look what we've managed to get for this shot. And in reality, it's over time, of course, has made it look like, oh, the Nimon's terrifying computer is just an old computer block from the offices of the 80s.
That's the chip that runs my washing machine. That's what that is.
That's what that is, son. How many Nimon have you seen today? Because I can answer that question for the first time in years.
I've not seen any Nimon.
Oh, it's good.
There are no Nimon.
I've seen one. How many? 3! Soul Deed is so good. Soul Deed is so good. But it's also weird because we're now looking at this as the last story of our season review, because we're now going to record the season 17 review, and then our second ever bonus video is what we're making next, which will be Sharda, because we're going to do...
It will be what, sorry?
Sharda! Because we're going to do the...
Which of the 17 versions are you going to do?
We're going to do 2 of them. We're going to do the 1990s video recon with Tom narrating it and that infamous beginning.
That's the one I had, the one I am most familiar with.
Me too. And then we're going to crack open something I bought a year ago, and we're going to crack open the animated version and watch that. I've mentally prepared Lucy slightly by going, so here's a little thing for you to just know. This story's like infamous, like people are fascinated by its existence because it was unfinished, but so much of it was shot, and it's a partially Douglas Adams script, but it's whilst he was editor, so it's very him, and everyone seeks it out. They seek it here, they seek it there. There've been numerous interpretations, like 2 novelizations, an audio adaptation with Paul McGann in it. There's been so many different takes on it, but what you need to know is it's kind of boring.
I quite like it,
but it's kind of boring. I like the Crotons. It's boring.
I like the Crotons in soup.
That's the wrong kind of Croton, which you would know if you were a regular listener to this, the Big Damn Cast. Hi, everybody.
What?
I am Chris. How many Nimons have you seen today, Johnson?
I am Skagra.
Is that your name now? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's my name now.
Can I be Scareth of the Jaggeroth?
Scareth, last of the Jaggeroth. Last of the Jaggeroth.
Well, that depends on if his plan will succeed, dear heart. Just gonna sell a few more Mona Lisas. We're all quids in. I love City of Death.
Can I be Duggan?
Absolutely. Absolutely, you could be Duggan. Best one-off character in years. Oh my god, good. He's great. Just blunders into stuff, and that ends up being his greatest strength by the end of the story. It's like, yes! Him punching first and asking questions later actually saves the day, and the Doctor's like, yeah, fair enough. I can't argue with that.
Worked out.
You saved the day.
I feel like the Doctor wasn't really there for that adventure. He was just like, they were just on holiday, and then it's like, I'm just going to let everyone else deal with this, and it worked out. It's great.
It's the only time I've never hated them production just showing off the fact they're filming on location. Because you could trim about 20 minutes out of the entirety of City of Death of just cutting down the scenes of Tom and Lala running around Paris. But exactly, why would you? Because in that wanky TV way, it's only there because they want to pad out time and show off that they're using license fee money to film abroad. Yeah. And look, it was worth it for all this. But it's also really pointless, and yet it's weirdly delightful. It's like a living screensaver. Every now and again, the story
ain't nothing weird
just stops.
about it. It's just delightful.
Well, what else is delightful, folks, is nerdy news and geeky gossip, which we normally talk about. That feels like a wrong thing to say nowadays, because we are 8 weeks into everything being a complete void of news, where the majority of news is this has been put back and that's been put back. Last week was the most exciting thing ever for popular culture and news, simply because it was, these two companies are going to war. This is going to be interesting. And then all of a sudden everything went quiet again. But
we've not heard the last from the cinemas, Christopher.
Oh God, no! There'll be plenty. We ran a poll on our Twitter, seeing what our listeners just thought. What do you guys think is going to happen? Cinema's going to stick around? Is the medium going to change? And the overwhelming majority said cinemas will still be around. So
I've got cinema news this week.
What?
I've got cinema news right now. Would you like me to hit you with some cinema news?
Slap me with some cinnamon and cinema news.
Variety reporting.
You're thinking about cinnamon now,
today.
Aren't you?
I've not had a cinnamon swirl for so long. Cinnamon roll. UK cinemas proposing late June reopening to the government.
What? But the world's not ready for it yet, so why? Why?
UK exhibitors, this is from Variety, UK exhibitors are presenting evidence to the government that would allow them to safely reopen doors by the end of June.
Cool.
June.
Oh, all right. So not by the end of...
Not Dune.
Of Denis,
not by the end of...
Denis Villeneuve's.
Denis Villeneuve's Dune.
Dune. Could you imagine if that was the scope of the window of opportunity? So what's going to happen, right, is we're going to start playing Dune, and as soon as it finishes, the doors will open, the ribbons will be snipped by oversized scissors.
It's 7 years long. Phil Clapp. The unfortunately named Phil Clapp. That's 2 P's.
Oh, thank God for him.
Chief executive of the UK Cinema Association told Variety... What voice shall I do for Phil Clapp?
We've made representations to government on the safeguards which UK cinemas would look to have in place for audiences and staff alike upon reopening, and have asked that consideration be given, with these in mind, to allow cinemas to open by end of June.
Okay, so what they've presented is, here is how we would go about running our business should we reopen at the end of June. And they're doing that from a really wishful place.
I honestly don't see how cinemas could even consider reopening at this point. Because we're living in a country that has the second highest death toll worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah. I think any business thinking of reopening right now is still thinking too soon. Way too soon. We are not ready for it. Cinemas least of all. Public exhibition centres. And if they're the first place that grandly reopens beyond food emporiums, people are going to flock to the cinema. They won't care what's it. They could fill every screen with Bloodshot and people will be there because they'll just want to be in a cinema and socialise that way. Now, maybe they've got guidelines. Maybe it's 2 seats apart for everybody. So you could just say in a... you're only going to get a third.
Yeah, well, good fucking luck.
But exactly, good luck getting that sorted.
I was in Tesco today, and good fucking luck getting someone to follow an arrow.
Oh Jesus! You and
arrows
your
on the floor, arrows on the side of the aisle. They can't do it. They cannot do it. So good luck getting them to go to a cinema. You talk about a cinema where you'll give someone a seat, and you'll ask them if they want to buy. You want to buy the premier seating, which is a bullshit thing, I know, but.
It's the best view.
It's no, and then they'll go in,
right.
and then they'll sit in the premier seats.
Yeah,
and they'll go, "Oh, I didn't know."
Mm-hmm.
It's you know where you're not sat.
You know where you're not sat.
And you got someone, you got someone coming in who's actually paid. You got someone coming in who's actually paid the extra for the fancy seats, and
I want to sit in my fancy seats. No, you can't sit in your fancy seats because I'm sitting in them. I haven't paid for them, but I've just sat in them.
Good luck getting those cunts to sit 2 seats apart. or 3 seats apart, however many it'll be. Like, it's not doable. I mean, last month, View were talking about they wanted to get open by mid-July.
Yeah. That's a little more realistic as of a month ago. A month ago, that was a pretty realistic and, like, considerate window.
Yeah.
Not so much by today's standard, like, delay that shiz. I don't know.
Yeah, and but apparently cinemas in the Czech Republic and Norway have started talking about reopening. But I just can't see how, with things the way they are, how
anyone can go.
I mean, I know why they're doing
Now's
it.
the
They're doing
time!
it because they're doing it because they're going under and they need money. And don't get me wrong, I understand the need to kickstart the economy, but people are gonna die.
Yeah, that's the thing.
People
ultimately.
are going to die if you do this.
It's upsetting and it's annoying and it's intimidating, but it is for everyone. And the moment these businesses realise that, that's the key thing. That's what everyone's fussed about: staying alive and preventing further death. And to open those businesses, which are about getting crowds together that have not enough staff to deal with 2 or 3 twats sitting in the wrong seats as it is, never mind monitoring an entire screen. Like, it's going to be a cause for trouble.
Yeah.
Develop a drive-in movie system. Do that. Develop a drive-in movie system where we all tune in from our radios and no one gets out of the car and they pay through bloody contactless. Like, do that.
Everyone does drive-ins.
Everyone does drive-ins. Bam, 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 bam. Like, that, to me,
That'd be pretty cool.
is like, if you're going to do it like that. It was like that in America just before America started to go into lockdown. Like, drive-ins that had become a bit more trendy but more common, especially on the West Coast, were booming because people were like, I'm worried about this upcoming possible lockdown. We want to see this film here. You tune in on your radio. You don't have to be in contact with anyone. Like, if you've got a decent bladder, go to the bathroom before you go, and go when you get home, and you'll be fine.
Or bring a couple of solo cups with you.
Yeah, a couple of solos.
And a funnel.
But the problem there is they were shut down within about a week after the cinemas closed down because, of course, the majority of them were taking cash money, which is another thing that can spread it because, people rubbing up against money, touching it, coughing on it, spitting on it, breathing near it, piddling with it.
Putting it in their cracks.
Putting it in their piss-filled solo cups. You can't... You can't be too careful. But if you introduced exclusively contactless at these places, sure, great. Like, that'd work fine. But then it's about policing as well. Like, if someone comes in, you can't kick them out because you can't physically handle them.
You don't understand, Christopher. They are taking away our freedom by telling us to not go out in public and catch a virus that can kill you.
Who's they?
Them.
Because it isn't any Western government. Because
it's
every
the
Western
libs.
government has yet to... No Western government has yet to use the word lockdown in any of its announcements. Because they want to be like, if you want to stay open, that's fine, you stay open, because then we don't have to pay.
We have.
Then our
We've
powerful
used-
friends don't have to pay insurance.
We have. We've had official lockdown orders now.
Has the word lockdown been used?
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I'm currently avoiding
Yeah.
the news for like 3-day periods at a time, if I can help it.
Yeah, we've officially been in lockdown, to using that terminology.
About 5 weeks now, isn't it?
Since March 23rd, I want to say.
Yeah.
The date was in the last article I had open, but I've closed it now.
Good.
Because I brought up the next news article.
Oh my giddy aunt! Is it that the lockdown is over?
No.
Well, that's it for this week's episode, folk.
It's
See you
something
tomorrow.
infinitely worse.
Oh.
Chris, remember Bright?
Do you mean the touch of sunlight on my skin in the outside world?
No.
Because I remember that.
I mean the movie directed by hack David Ayer and written by creepy entitled Hollywood's shit kid
Captain Predator.
Max Landis.
Yeah.
Captain Predator.
Who opened a screenwriting course over Instagram about 2 months ago and did it not under his name, and everyone immediately found it and shat all over it.
Because let us not forget that Bright was his Star Wars.
Oh, that will never not be the funniest thing ever written. Oh my god.
That tweet aged badly, man.
God.
It's so bad. Well, looks like we're still gonna get a sequel.
Yeah, Netflix announced that not too long after the initial release of the first one. Like, mostly because its numbers were gangbusters. So they were like, this is happening. We are definitely making another one. But that was not reflective of the reviews to Bright. You saw Bright. You suffered through
I did
Bright.
see Bright. I did suffer Bright.
You stuck Bright in your eyes.
Oh, man.
Remind people what the basic plot of Bright was, just in case they have purged it from their mind hole.
You know that Disney movie Onward?
Yeah.
It's like that, but stupider and racist.
Yeah, and somehow, because of a line of improv, somehow Shrek exists in that universe.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah. It's what if all the fantasy races still existed in modern day? Then they wouldn't be racist between white people and black people. There'd be racism between
humans and magic
humans and
folk.
orcs and elves and look, all the orcs are coded black.
Yes.
So,
oh god.
I guess orcs are black people. It's not great. It's not a good look. But they're doing another one. Evan Spiliotopoulos, I think. And T.S. Nolan.
Yeah.
So one guy gets like a really long name and one guy just gets initials. They are replacing Max Landis. Ayer is returning as producer and also co-writing.
Yeah, because Max Landis was signed on to write the sequel, and then Netflix or someone from Netflix announced that no, we've let him go from that contract.
Someone read Twitter and
someone looked at anything he's ever done outside of his writing career and gone, this guy's a monster. And then they looked back over the majority of his writing career, specifically screenwriting, and went, he also can't write.
Oh, yeah. It's one of them.
Again,
it was
just so we don't sound reactionary, Chronicle is a really good movie. I really like the American Alien comic book. I thought American Ultra was pretty fun. And there endeth the comparisons.
It's one of them. It's like, oh, he's got promised the next one's going to be the big one. He's got promised the next one's going to be the big one. And it just kept going like that, and then it just didn't materialize.
Yeah. He also was ruined my favourite ever Best of the Worst by being in it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, we lost the how many laptops and clips because Red Letter.
It's alright, there are other
Media,
channels.
Red Letter Media made the decision to go, yeah, we're going to take these videos down. Like we don't want his face on our channel. Goodbye.
Yeah, but they'll settle for Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin's great. God damn it.
There's nothing wrong with Macaulay Culkin. His face is just upsetting. Because he looks so young and so old at the same time. Drugs are a hell of a thing.
Drugs are a hell of a drug.
Fuck me. What are we talking about? So yes, in talks to direct is fresh off. I say fresh. It's been fucking ages for him, no doubt. Fresh off Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. Louis Leterrier.
Yes, Incredible Hulk's very own.
Incredible Hulk's very own. And some other good stuff. What else has Louis Leterrier done? He's done some good stuff. For
me, Dark Crystal's the thing I think of him immediately. When you mention his name, I think Dark Crystal Age of Resistance because it was beautiful. Like, it was so good. For someone to realise that world, who doesn't come from a puppet background, and realise how you can shoot it so cinematically, and create a compelling, near 10-hour freaking saga with these characters.
10 hours!
So good.
I need to watch more of it. I've still only watched the first episode.
I barely asked my friend Warwick and from Phil, who worked on it. So I've barely asked them what it was like working with him. But now more than ever, I'm like, I just want to ask you, what was Louis Leterrier like? Was he good? Was he fun? What's the crack? Because the upside to him getting Bright 2, which means it's going to have a different visual language to the first one because it's not got a twat at the helm.
Yeah.
The downsides are it's Bright 2, and also the fact that they gave him Bright 2 means they are probably not making Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Season 2.
I will say this, though. Looking at his filmography, it is very up and down.
True, but he's got a good visual eye. He's got a very good visual eye. Transporter's a lot of fun. That's fun.
It's good. It's good, fun action movie. Unleashed, I haven't seen. Transporter 2, probably the Transporter, but more. I've not seen
Transmortar.
it. Transmortar.
Incredible
Hulk. I got a thumbs up about Transporter 2. Incredible Hulk, Clash of the Titans.
Not great, but more because it was stuck in the 3D movie boom, and also was a remake of a film that didn't need to be remade. So
yeah, it's fine. Now You See Me, which is fine.
Yeah, it's slick. It's a slick film.
It is slick. Grimsby.
But Mark Strong.
And then Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. So it's not a watertight back catalogue.
No, he's not batting. He's not batting with a full deck of gems. But he's
better than David Ayres. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. That's the thing. And there's no attitude. We don't hear his name and think, "Oh, that director is a bit of a twat." But we hear David Ayres.
That guy.
Like, that guy. The guy who went fuck Marvel at their film's premiere, and you're like, really?
Hey,
really,
hey,
dude?
hey.
Come on.
Hey. Fuck Marvel.
Yeah. Oh! By the way, our Disney check cleared, so we can keep shilling.
Oh, good. That means we can talk about the next story.
Oh.
This is not confirmed. This is a rumor that's been popping up all over the place over the last couple of days.
Speculative.
Disney.
Yes.
Disney. They're looking to reboot Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Well, that was first announced about a year ago that they had commissioned a 6th film and that it would be a franchise reboot and that they were not going to be bringing Johnny Depp back as a lead character. And at the time, it was believed that it was possibly to do with the accusations of domestic abuse.
Yeah.
Although as time goes by, and since a lot of that has now been, a lot of the accusations against him have been disproven, as time goes by, it's more clear that it's just a case of, we think this franchise has legs, but he has been in every single one, and people are bored of them. But when we say we're going to reboot it, everyone goes, oh, cool, all right. And then when we mention he's not going to be in it, they go, no, it's not Pirates without him. And it's like, right, you either want him or you don't, viewers of this series. So we're going to make a decision and go ahead without him. What has come to light now, good sir?
Well, the rumour is that they're going after Karen Gillan for the lead.
Yes, sign me up. Let's do it. She looks good as a pirate. We've seen it. We've seen her dressed as a pirate and she looks good.
Yeah, of course. That went out and all the
cutlass.
The Curse of the Black Spot things.
She suits the costume.
Went out. And this also, of course, has led that they might be doing Anne Bonny.
Really? Of course, because they have touched on real things in the Pirate series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
Whose fate is still unknown.
Yeah. Oh. Well, there you go. Perfect material for a semi-supernatural pirate film.
She was captured with Calico Jack Rackham and Mary Read in 1720. Both her and Reed's executions were stayed because they were pregnant, and although Reed died in 1721, but Anne Bonny's fate is still unknown.
Well, there you go. She's obviously an immortal leading a crew of the damned or something.
Or they could be doing Red from the Ride.
Maybe.
Because her ride bit got updated, didn't it?
It did. But do you want to hear the nerdiest piece of shit? So there was a short film.
I'm on a Skype call to you, Christopher, so obviously I do.
There was a short film. All right.
Oh, sorry, I was just blowing on the burn that I gave you.
Oh, you swine. You swine. There was a short film. Let me find out what the name of it is. Tales from the Code, Wedlocked. This was a short film released. What was its original release? It was directed by James Ward Burkitt, and it was released. Sorry, I'm just checking to see what its first thing he was. Oh, okay. So, it was originally released with a special edition of On Stranger Tides, but in the you swine, licking my camera thing, you dirty boy. It was initially released with the DVD set of On Stranger Tides in the US, but it came out in a different packaging over here and mostly found its footing online. But it's called Tales from the Code, Wedlocked, and it is about two characters who are involved in this brawl in a pirate bar, one of which is the Redhead. Now, in this, of the ride fame and ride lore, in this though, she's not a pirate, but she's also not a wench or a sex slave like she was in the ride, or she is in the ride now in the pirate thing. But she is in the pirate bar.
The Redhead.
She holds her own and she screws everybody over and fights people and stuff. So in the pirate cinema canon, the Redhead exists and she is a badass who drinks pirates under the table.
Well, there was a rumor going around that was what they were doing the reboot based around, and then apparently they're eyeing Karen
Gillan.
Fucking hell, Karen Gillan for the lead. Pirates of the Karen Gillan.
See, I just create a new character ultimately, and do something unique. That's why Jack Sparrow was so impressive when that first film rocked up, because it was it's a film based on a theme park ride where basically you drift past pirates who are pillaging a village and then they set fire to it and then you leave and there's some skeleton imagery in there. They're making a film out of that. It's and it's really, really, really good. And our supporting character is a really memorable performance by this bizarre actor who always turns in interesting performances. And our villains
used to always turn in interesting performances.
Yeah, what was the last Johnny Depp film you saw him in where you're like, oh god, that's really good? I think Black Mass for me.
I didn't see Black Mass.
Black Mass is really good. He's terrifying in it.
I thought he was awful in all the pirate sequels.
I don't hate him in 2 and 3, but 2 and 3 are kind of... 2 and 3 are sort of like the Matrix sequels.
Maybe I'm just conflating that because they were kind of dull.
They have their strengths and they have their weaknesses, but if you have a box set day and watch 1, 2, and 3, they make for a really fun trilogy to watch. But 1 is undisputably the best thing they've done with the property outside of the rides so far. So, yeah. Then again, I've not played the Pirates of the Caribbean levels on Kingdom Hearts 3 yet, so I might change my mind and go, this is Pirates. Sometimes the video game version's the best. I replayed LEGO Dimensions today on stream, and guess what? It's my favourite 12th Doctor story.
Hey!
It's my favourite version of the 12th Doctor.
It's funny you should mention both pillaging and video games in the same news item, Christopher.
Really? Why is that?
Because remember when we were... I can't speak. God damn it! Remember when we were recording last week? Yeah. And Ubisoft. We're talking about...
Ubisoft. Yeah.
The new Assassin's Creed. Well, it's Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it's now the Vikings are assassins.
Yeah.
And the assassins are Vikings, because that... What?
Yeah, well, as Odyssey and Origins have now established, the beginnings of what becomes the Creed and the beginnings of what is the Templar, the Knights Templar, is rooted within ancient history. So you can be here it is at this stage of history. Here's what eventually will become the Creed and everything later is at this stage in history. So I get it, and I think the trailer's pretty much every kind of launch trailer from these companies. It's gorgeous. It's so well animated.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of pre-rendered stuff. Yeah. Doesn't really give you any idea of plot, and the only really Assassin's Creed element in it is at the very end of the trailer.
Yeah, I think Halo kind of started it this way, didn't they? They were the first game to kind of really make a thing of, here's our TV spot / trailer. It's going to be incredibly gorgeous and compelling as fuck, and it's nothing to do with the eventual product. But it's there to get you going, oh, what's that about? And then keep following.
They did a bunch of live action stuff, especially for Halo 3.
Yeah. And it's a gorgeous trailer, and it's this whole thing of showing the Vikings are believed to be this, and then signs that that's not all they are, and is what the aristocracy in Britain is, and the monarchy, and actually it's a little bit like... So it's sort of going...
Oh, look.
You're going to be toppling...
British are the bad guys again.
Yeah, but...
It's almost like we're historically bastards.
Well, exactly. It's like... It looks like it's going to be playing a lot with perception of this time in history and of the sort of people involved. So that's the thing that interests me. I don't play these games. I've not really enjoyed any of it that I have played, and whenever I watch Lucy play them, my wife adores them, ladies and gentlemen. She loves Assassin's Creed games, but every time I watch them, I can see the cracks too much, and it distracts me like crazy.
I haven't played one since 4. Keeks played a good... I don't know if she finished it, but she played a good chunk of Origins.
Yeah.
So I should go back and play that maybe.
Because the sort of the strength of the later ones, based on what Lucy tells me, is the fact that they abandon sort of the history angle. Really, like you learn about stuff, but it's less about a storyline of Abstergo and all that, and more about just like, hey, here's some cool.
See, that was the stuff I was interested in, and I thought it was leading up to a modern day one of those.
Same. I thought the path
and then
was
they
going
just
to be.
throw it.
I thought the path was going to be
throw it
that
out
and lead to one where it's primarily set in the modern day, and you delve into other bits of history along the way, like as side missions or whatever. So that then by the end, it's what was his name? Desmond. His story would have actually wrapped up. But
White boy.
Yeah, as it stands, the most consistent stretch of the game is the Ezio trilogy, which is the second game, Brotherhood, and Revelations. Those are the 3 that stand out as like, this works as a story and as a concept. This works. Here it is.
That was when it went huge.
Yeah,
because the first one was a success.
Yeah,
and then 2 Revelations and Brotherhood would. But that's also during the period when a lot of the big publishers, including Ubisoft, were pushing for annual iterations of all their big franchises.
Yeah.
And so you were just getting the same thing from each franchise year on year on year on year. And I think that is what led to the sort of...
3 wore people down for that exact same reason. They were like, so it's in early America, but you spend the first 2 hours with one character and then they're killed off and then you're their son for the rest of it. Like some kind of perverted Red Dead Redemption. And then you just sort of do the same stuff, and the only thing that made it stand out was the visual of the tomahawk. Like, that was kind of it. Instead of the hidden blade, it was a tomahawk. And then Black Flag came along, and that seems to be a big fave for a lot of people, Lucy included.
Black Flag was the last one I played, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, because it brings the nautical stuff in, like the explorative angle of it is bigger. You're in like the Caribbean and stuff, aren't you? So you're exploring different areas that you've not been to before, and this is cool. This has got different stuff in it. Then Rogue's the spin-off, which came out when Unity came out on the PS4, Rogue came out on the PS3, and that's basically just a glorified 12-hour DLC for Black Flag. Like, it's a new character, really bad Irish accent, and it's more of Black Flag. So it's just, if you like Black Flag, here's more. That's like, cool. Unity comes out at the same time. That's the one that's glitch-filled as sin and is set during the French Revolution. And it's the only one Lucy has not finished.
Wow.
Oh no, that and number 3. She got bored of 3, and Unity just glitched that much. She went, nope, I'm done.
3 was notoriously poorly received by nearly everyone, I think.
But the Tomahawk, and then the next one was, I want to say Syndicate is the next one.
It was Syndicate, yeah.
The Victorian London one, which was received well.
Yeah.
It was the first one we had 2 lead characters, a male and a female, so you could kind of change around and have fun with it.
After they had done that whole thing of, we can't have female player characters because you'd have to do twice as many animations.
And then for this, they just split it up. So it's like, well, there are 2 main characters, and you flip between them. One's male, one's female. It's like, fine. Hey, sure, cool.
Good.
Then it was Origins.
Yeah, it took a break after that.
Yeah, it was like 2 years, and then Origins with Bayak and Senu. That's when it just starts getting more fantastical. Like, here's a boatload of stuff set in the land of the dead. Here's a shitload of stuff with the gods. Here's this, that, and the other. And then here's some Final Fantasy 13 tie-in content, including a Chocobo camel thing.
A what, sorry?
Is it a Chocobo? What are they called? What are they?
It's a Chocobo. It's a Chocobo.
Chocobo.
Chocobo sounds strangely sexual.
Well, that's the thing. A Chocobo is what I like to do before I nut one out. So So there's that, and then 2 years later again, No, it was a year later. It was Odyssey, because it was like, oh my god,
Yeah, they went back to the annualization.
It's back to annualization. Odyssey, Ancient Greece. This time you are a male or female character. You pick is it Alexei and Cassandra, something like that.
Yeah, so everyone played as Cassandra, right?
Yeah, everyone played. Oh, and the game came with a reversible sleeve too, so that the silhouette on the front was either a male silhouette or a female silhouette. But here's the thing with that one. We were talking about this as a video I'm putting together at the minute on a video game pitch concept thing. I'm turning to a video, but I talk about in that how if you're gonna have a character where you can customize the gender. Or customize, the voice based on gender and etc. etc. The appearance, however you want. Don't do it like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because it's obvious how they cut the corner of having to do multiple character animations. The character animations are pretty much exactly the same for all conversations if you are male or female in terms of the movement, which means to minimize risk of it looking odd, they're really stilted, and the camera just cuts between person and person like an older RPG.
Yeah.
So it's
like Mass Effect.
Like Mass Effect, exactly. And it looks, when you get to those moments, it suddenly looks really cheap and stiff. It's really, really odd. And Odyssey was the last one we got. About a year after Odyssey came out, they released the maps where you can learn about ancient Greece and really go into the history of the place and everything.
They did that for Origins as well.
And maybe learn the correct fucking pronunciations for things. Hippocrates is Hippocrates. Every time they say naming it, I'm like, have we been saying it wrong? And then I look it up and I go, nope, they got it wrong. That's really weird. Why have they done that? And you realise it's because you have a French video game company working between France and Canada who have voice directors recording dialogue in the UK and France primarily. Do you know what I mean? It's like there is some cross stuff there where they've decided on one thing and chose another. Maybe it's because in France they say Hippocrates instead of Hippocrates. But you're releasing it to the Western market and everyone's going, what the fuck is a Hippocrates? It's Hippocrates.
It's Hippocrates anyway.
Exactly. Heracles.
Heracles.
So it's been 2 years since Assassin's Creed Odyssey was released on the shop. So yeah, it's they've taken their time, but I think the announcement was pretty cool. It was a classy announcement, cool trailer, 4-hour art stream with the artist painting this beautiful picture that slowly revealed what the world of it was. It was a cool way of revealing it. It was nice to see Ubisoft going, we're going to do something a bit fun.
Well, it's not like they got any choice, really. Yeah, it's not like they can do a press conference.
This is probably stuff they were saving for E3, and they're like, fuck it, we've got it ready. Let's just put it out there now. Boss Logic, illustrate this picture.
On the back of this, you've got Microsoft sitting around and saying, oh yeah, that's going to be part of our Xbox Series X showings, and we're going to start doing regular streams of Xbox Series X stuff. Yeah,
it's the first game I've seen with the trailer to say Xbox Series X, PS5, PS4, Xbox One. It's like, oh god, well, there we go. We are approaching the next generation. So, folks, you can spend full price on a new console and £70 on one game that you don't know if it's going to be good, but it's the only one available. Or you can all wait till the January sales and spend a bit of cash after Christmas and know what 2 or 3 games available for the system are good. Does anyone here still play any launch games for a console? The answer is no. Ocarina of Time doesn't count. Not Ocarina of Time. Breath of the Wild doesn't count because technically it's a Wii U game.
Yes, it is.
Like GTA 5. Oh, it's a great PS4 game. It's a PS3 game, motherfuckers. You're just playing it with extra cats.
It also wasn't a launch title for PS4.
Yeah, it was about 5-6 months in, wasn't it?
It was more over a year in.
Was it? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right, because the PS4's release date was September 2013. It
was quite a while.
And I didn't open I pre-ordered mine, because I had the disposable income at the time, and then didn't open it till February 2014.
Yeah.
Because we were slowly moving house. And then once we've settled in and got a dog, we went, maybe we'll wait till the dog isn't chewing things before we put the expensive console into the TV unit that's on the floor. So, yeah. Which is why I don't have any launch titles.
Well, you're not missing much. A couple of other little bits of video game news. Last of Us 2 got a new story trailer for its release date. It's out on June 19th.
I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's a pretty interesting story trailer. Like the way they presented it. The same way that Assassin's Creed presented the announcement of Valhalla through a live painting. Naughty Dog presented the new trailer for Last of Us Part 2 through a series of leaks on the internet. Yeah, turns out, folks, all that rumour around the crunch time of Uncharted 4 at Naughty Dog is true, because there are some pissed ex-employees leaking the plot points for Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, no. All the stuff is true about the crunch, but it wasn't ex-employees who leaked it. It was a hack.
Oh, but they're doing it in protest for the crunch?
No, it's just a hack.
Wow, so the crunch was speculative. Because remember, that was when it first came out, people were like, oh,
no, there are
released
people
all
inside the
details.
studio. Like, people were already well aware of the fact that Naughty Dog is a pretty intense place to work.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the famous quotes, wasn't it, for Uncharted 4, someone said, that is the most crunch I've ever worked on any project ever. And you could tell there was some problems, because Uncharted 4 was basically, like, remade about a third of the way into its production.
Yeah.
Then Amy Hennig and the original cast were all, like, they left and were changed, and
I'm just not sure what...
Alan Tudyk was meant to be in it.
Yeah.
Christ's sake. He was Rafe, I think, originally.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Rafe is from number 4, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's coming out, and
because Laura Bailey was cast as Nadine, and when she was originally cast, the character was white South African, and it changed during the rearrangement of the production. Because remember, she went on record afterwards as saying, like, I'm proud to be part of the Lost Legacy and Uncharted 4, but I will not be reprising the role of Nadine again if they ask me, because they did not tell me that I would be playing a role of a black South African character. When I should not be playing that part. That should be someone else playing that part. It was like, good on you. Also, it's that weird thing of her performance is really good.
Oh, yeah, it's superb.
But it's like, oh, wow, for no one to have told her until she saw her first images of Nadine during the Uncharted 4 release stuff. Oh, mental.
Yeah.
Mental.
That's mad.
Are Naughty Dog the bad guys? Is it
Yes.
happening? Oh, no.
All the companies are bad guys. And Mortal Kombat 11's getting a story DLC, and RoboCop's in it now.
Excuse me? Baking powder?
Sorry. Mortal Kombat 11 is getting a story DLC, and RoboCop is in it now.
Okay.
And he's voiced by Peter Weller. Yeah.
Okay, I don't hate either of those things. That's pretty cool. That's good, because Mortal Kombat's great. Mortal Kombat's great, but there's only so many, like, towers you can do before you feel like the game is pounding you into the ground. So the fact they're doing a DLC is kind of nice.
Yeah.
But RoboCop actually kind of... Who've been the other DLC characters for this run? Spawn, the Joker...
For MK11, the Joker, Spawn, Terminator...
T-800. Well,
T-800.
let's be honest, Carl from...
Carl.
From Terminator Dark Fate.
But not voiced by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
Who else?
Uh...
Mortal Kombat 10 was the one with Jason and the Xenomorph and Predator and all that shit.
Yeah, the lineup that made you go, huh?
Lineups that make you go, huh?
How is it that for Injustice they don't make you do that, but then the same company does it for their main title and you go, what the fuck?
They just get all sorts of fucking weird crossover characters, so yeah, they're the guest characters.
But RoboCop feels at home there, I think. I think it's because he's of the same generation as Mortal Kombat.
Is he Stryker? Is he actually Stryker?
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, it'd save on development, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, no, Stryker's not in MK11, I don't think.
Or is he? RoboCop peels back in.
Well, he is now. Because he's RoboCop.
But RoboCop feels like he belongs in that same pop culture bubble as MK. Because he's from the same sort of era. So it's him being in this, I'm totally fine with this. This isn't Soul Calibur 4 with Yoda and Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Or Negan from Walking Dead in Tekken 7.
Yeah, that's odd, man.
I was like, why is
really
he here?
Odd crossover characters.
Injustice at least picks comic book characters.
Hellboy and the Turtles were great.
Turtles and a couple Mortal Kombat characters for good measure. Who also, who is it who doubles up? Sub-Zero doesn't double up.
Raiden doubles up as Black Lightning.
Ryan doubles up as Black Lightning. It's just like, yes, extra DC character. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I love Injustice 2. I still think I've not played MK11, but I've played MK10. I've played Tekken 7. I still think my favourite like current gen fighting games Injustice 2. There's just something about it. It's smooth.
I think it's got a better learning curve than a lot of fighting games as well. I think, which apparently there is something that they built on even more in MK11. Like apparently the tutorials and such for that game are pretty
intense,
smart. Just good, just nice, and the learning curve is curvy.
Oh.
Right, I've got a really nice chunky email from Charles that we can get our teeth into.
Aye.
But before I do that, have you got any more news, Cocker?
Yeah, this week I finished Mando. We got around to watching the end of Mandalorian.
Are we going to talk about Mando? Oh, it's so good, isn't it?
Minor spoilers for the finale of The Mandalorian, but don't worry, I'm not going to give too much detail anyway, because not much happens, and that's kind of the beauty of the show. Not much happens each week. It's really simple storytelling, and this is... episodes 1 and 2, and episodes 7 and 8 are the only ones that are sort of a two-parter, like only ones where you have to watch the first one to fully enjoy the next one, I guess. 3, 4, 5, and 6 sort of are their own one-off adventures. But the cliffhanger of 7 was wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And then to follow it up with this, so... In the shattered remnants of the Empire that are out there 5 years after the fall of the second Death Star, there are still Moffs.
Oh yeah,
and good God, Moff Gideon just immediately makes a point. Like, you see him at the end of episode 7, and then he's the main antagonist for episode 8, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
And they do that thing. They do that thing where you can have, when you cast nowadays, you can cast shorthand. If there is an actor who is known for bringing a certain like type of intensity to roles,
and in the wake of Breaking Bad, that is absolutely Giancarlo Esposito.
Good God! The moment he rocks up, you are like, Gus Fring who? Like, this guy. This guy. I mean, obviously he's not as layered as Gus because we got to know Gus. And
we also saw Gus's layers.
That flashback by the swimming pool is still one of the greatest scenes in that show. By the other guy's swimming pool, not. Anyway, not Walter.
We know the one you mean.
You know the one I mean. Not the bear.
I know the one you mean.
The other one. But immediately you're like, oh, this is the bad guy. Werner Herzog was literally an appetizer. This is the villain.
He's a middleman.
And he's really, really good. But he's also a Moff. He's not a Grand Moff. So this is somebody who's like not trying to keep the Empire afloat. He's doing his thing in service of the Empire. So he's got his own style. He's got his own battalion of, like, I think he had like 6 Death Troopers and then the rest were Stormtroopers. That was a really striking image in episode 7 when they rock up, because the only Stormtroopers we've seen have been like a small group and they've all like dirty armor and everything. And then his lot rock up and they are clean and shining, and you're like, where have these fuckers been hiding? Oh my God, there is more Empire out there than we thought. Oh shit! Like his own TIE fighter, just great. Carl Weathers, great. Taika Waititi pulling double duty on the good job here as IG-11, but also directing the finale. Just so good. Like, oh God, Gina Carano, Pedro Pascal. We get a bit of FaceTime. Like, they're so good. And the puppeteers of Baby Yoda are so good. Like, the child is wonderful. And the conclusion of sort of the armourer and that angle is really good. And
also, she's a complete badass.
She's such a badass. Oh my God! 6 stormtroopers at close range, each wielding a laser rifle, and she's just got a wrench and some tongs. And she wins. It's like, oh God.
Fucking Mandalorian, man.
Brilliant. The bloody, the barge to Hades, basically, along the lava river with a navigation droid like you would on a ship. And so it's a little R2 style unit. And then they wake it up and it stands up and it's got like battle droid legs and arms.
Yeah.
And it starts punting them down the freaking lava river.
It's a ferryman droid. It's like,
this is so good. But the two things that I love the most about the finale, above all else, is the fact that it gives the show a direction, which makes me think, okay, this series was Western. Next series could absolutely be like family adventure or road trip. Like next series is finding a location.
It's a family
jumping from place to place.
It's a family friendly version. It's going to be a family friendly version of Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yes,
basically. Yes.
But the other thing that I loved was my favourite scene in the whole show, and probably my favourite Star Wars related scene of the Disney era, which was the opening scene of Episode 8. With the two stormtroopers on the speeders.
It's so good.
Parked outside the town.
Good.
One's got the child in a bag, and they're just waiting to get the all clear to go into the back into the town and deliver the asset. And one's got it in the bag. The other one's like, "Can I see it?" It's like, it doesn't matter. It's in the bag. It's like, yeah, but it might not be breathing. You just want to see it. It's not important. I've got it in here. And they're just like. I mean, it makes you hate them because every now and again they just keep like smacking the bag and you hear the child like whimper and you're like, you bastard! But it's just like, we've never seen stormtroopers in a Star Wars thing on downtime.
Yeah, there's little bits from like gesticulating and talking in the background.
Yeah, or
like snippets of dialogue.
Yeah, or like non-events in Rise of Skywalker, like the Knights of Ren. You're like, like the best use of it before this was probably the bit when Kylo's having a strop in Force Awakens.
And and they just turn around and go back
see the destruction and just turn around. Yeah,
that's really good.
Or the Daniel Craig one who slaps Finn on the arse in Last Jedi. That's the one. Oh no, that's not Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig's in the first one, isn't he? He's the one who
he's the one who gets
mind
tricked by Rey.
Who plays the one who slaps him on the arse? Because that's another guest performer.
Can't
remember now.
Someone.
I'm gonna look at really.
I can't remember who the guests were in Last Jedi.
I'll have a little look, but it's we've never seen him on downtime like this way, and it was just so much fun. Plus a wonderful throwaway gag of them trying to shoot a can while bored. Missing it. Oh my god, just wonderful. I'm gonna have to find out that Stormtroopers.
Is it the guns?
It's a wall of credits.
Are they just terrible shots? He's shaking the gun next to his ear to see if it's working right.
Yeah. That was
very good.
Amazing. Like the first time in universe they've kind of made a nod to Stormtroopers are kind of shit at this. Because we on Star Wars Day, may the fourth be with you, we rewatched Star Wars, the 1977 motion picture Star Wars. For some reason the credits called it Episode 4 A New Hope, and there was this weird bit with a CGI Jabba and Greedo shot first, but anyway.
McClunky.
Well, we didn't watch the streamed version. We watched it on Blu-ray just to avoid the McClunky. I don't want to get any McClunky. I don't want to get any McClunky in my eye. Good God! But
it's just so fucking weird, man.
It's just so odd. Hey George, do you want us to make any more tweaks now that it's gone on digital? Yeah, I've got a few ideas. Greedo. It's really important. You know the scene where Greedo and Han talk in the canteen, or the Mos Eisley cantina. Yeah, and there's the confrontation where shots are fired. Yeah, I want to make a change. Something that I should have done a long time ago. Oh my God, George. Yeah, sure. We can take Greedo's shot out. We can do that. We have some of the original. Could you have Greedo say McClunky when he shoots first?
Well, did I tell you the story behind that about why that's in the Disney Plus version?
Why is that in the Disney Plus version?
It doesn't explain the change particularly, but the reason why it's different than the Blu-ray version is because they're using the master that they made for the 3D re-release that they never did.
Right.
Because when they re-released Episode 1 in 3D.
Yeah, and we were all like, that's awesome. Can't wait for them to release 4, 5, and 6 in 3D.
And then they didn't release any others
because it didn't make enough money.
But they'd already done the print for 4.
Yeah.
So that's the version that's on Disney Plus.
So why McClunky?
That's just the change that was made in the print for the 3D version.
Maybe when he said McClunky, the word McClunky was going to Batman 66 its way out of the screen and hit people in the face through the dazzling 3D special effects.
I think someone translated it and it does make sense, but there's no subtitle for it.
Yeah, which makes
So-
it stand out even more.
It's weird. Anyway,
But in
anyway.
that, Ben Kenobi makes a big point of saying like, no, these shots are too precise. Only Imperial stormtroopers could have done this. And then there's a few mentions in Mos Eisley of them being like, deadly, like their shots being deadly. And there is no evidence in A New Hope to suggest that stormtroopers aren't completely capable. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone they're firing at is in close corridors and they're running and it's all... Do you know what I mean? A New Hope doesn't do anything to make them look stupid apart from the helmet clunk, which is edited out of the Blu-ray. It happens, but there's no sound effect. So they've gone in and removed the diegetic sound of a helmet hitting the door, which sucks because we missed it. We were like, well, we'll look out for it and we'll take a drink. And we missed it because we weren't... Like, the thud wasn't there. Apart from that, in the first film, stormtroopers are like, oh shit, the stormtroopers are here. Fuck, right, we need to go. Do you know what I mean? They feel scary. Yeah. And then after that, they barely hit anything. So the fact that this episode of Mandalorian was like, maybe the stormtroopers aren't bad, guys. Maybe the blasters are just, they're not as good as they used to be. Maybe the weapons are just a bit shit.
Or
these guys trying to shoot
both?
this can. Or is it both? Exactly, because it plays it as like, these two are a bit dopey.
Yeah, they're stupid.
So I'm delighted to report that, as announced on May the 4th, 2 directors for the upcoming season of The Mandalorian have been announced, because both posted on-set photos proving they'd already been hard at work on season 2.
I think season 2's already been shot.
Yes, I think they're in post, but it's a level of post that can be done from facilities by individuals. So I think they are still planning to release it in October of this year. I don't know if that's going to be for UK territories or just the US territory.
They've no reason to not release it worldwide.
Especially now we've got it. Because it's never been confirmed, but the speculation we had for why Disney Plus was so late in the UK was because of Sky's deal with Disney for like the Avengers films and stuff for Sky
But
Movies.
a lot of that stuff's still on Now TV.
True, but it might be on like a timer now. There might be like a run out. But at the same time, it depends on the back catalogue, I think. I think they'll have less of it. Because if you go on Now TV, there's always 7 of the MCU movies are always there. There's at least 7 of them at one time.
Yeah.
It could go down to being like just 2 or 3 at a time. So that Disney Plus is you want the Marvel stuff? Come on over, baby! But the 2 directors, speaking of Marvel, one of them is AntMan and Ant-Man and the Wasp's very own Peyton Reed.
Oh.
Who posted a photo of his director's chair on May the 4th with the Mandalorian's helmet perched on the seat.
Yeah.
He also, big news. You know all the pop culture sites that are struggling for news? Big news this week.
Yeah.
It's been confirmed who Falcon was talking to in the Ant-Man film.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was Natasha. When he quickly called back to base saying, I'll deal with it. He's talking to Natasha. Big news! It's not. Someone just tweeted to Peyton Reed. Always wondered. Who was he talking to? Peyton Reed just went, oh, Natasha. All right.
Who cares? Who cares?
Well, Robert Rodriguez cares about Star Wars. He's gone on record before he's talking about Star Wars as one of the films that, like, Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back are the films that sort of, like, spurned him on as a kid to want to be a filmmaker. Robert Rodriguez, the Mariachi trilogy and bloody, Dust Till Dawn, Sin City, co-director, and Machete, and Alita Battle Angel, Spy Kids, Mother Truckers. Robert Rodriguez has directed an episode of The Mandalorian, and he announced it by saying, I'm truly humbled to say I've now had the very rare privilege of directing the biggest star in the universe, and posted a photo of himself next to the child.
Oh.
So, yeah. Holy crap. Peyton Reed and Robert Rodriguez joined the lineup of directors for season 2.
Yes.
Which makes me happy, because the directors they had for this first season did phenomenal work. Including, Rick, I always get his name wrong, Famuyiwa, Deborah Chow, Taika Waititi, Bryce Dallas Howard, Jon Favreau, your boy Dave Filoni of all the Star Wars animated stuff, directed a couple of episodes. Carl Weathers is also apparently directing an episode for Series 2.
Yeah, boy!
Yeah, which has me intrigued as to whether or not it'll be one with him in or not. But it seems like this is one of those projects where
we got a
everybody's
stew
like,
going.
well, it seems like this episode, I'm so glad he stuck around in it for more than a couple episodes.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's a bit of a family dynamic going on with the Mandalorian now. Of like, hey, do you wanna have a stab at directing one of these? Yeah, sure, I'd love to. Like, hey, let's do it. Okay. And Jon Favreau, of course, is returning to direct episodes for season 2 as the co-creator of the show. So I can only imagine Dave Filoni's name being announced soon as well. If we could just give one to Patty Jenkins, then I'll be absolutely delighted, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Give one to Edgar Wright.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Well, he did cameo in whatchamacallit, in Last Jedi.
Yeah, who was he? Was he a stormtrooper?
He's one of the resistance fighters in the trenches on Crate.
Yes, it's like him and Gareth Edwards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Did we get Rise of Skywalker on UK Disney Plus? Did we get it?
I've not checked because I don't care.
Fair enough. I kind of want to challenge myself to watch the sequel trilogy. So, but I'm not buying either The Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker unless I can watch them on a service I've already paid for. Yep, there it is. Front page of the Disney Plus app, Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker.
But stop that. Disney Gallery Episode 1, The Mandalorian, is up now. So a behind-the-scenes roundtable discussion with the directors of Season 1.
I think I'll be watching that.
There's also another show that I really want to watch on Disney Plus. We're not sponsored, guys, but if Disney Plus would like to sponsor us, please do. Oh, look, Wow! The Star Wars logo at the moment on like the scroll through featured programming is Ralph McQuarrie artwork from Episode 4. That's gorgeous. Prop Culture is now up, available to watch. It's like a warehouse that people who look after the props and history of the Disney movies is now up. I'll be watching that. God, yes. Wow.
Well, aren't you a lucky boy?
You can watch it too.
I know. But I think you're going to get more out of it than I am. Well, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. Still no Solo, though, I notice. I've wanted to revisit Solo, because I didn't hate it. I just thought it was fine.
I believe that is still on Now TV.
Oh, no, it's there now. Solo's on there now. There we go.
I think it was always on there, wasn't it?
Not initially, I don't think.
Resistance isn't on there, I've noticed.
Resistance is now.
Is it now? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, season 1, episodes 1 to... Oh, God, 1 to 22. 21.
So all of season 1's on there?
All of season 1 is now on there. They must have added it on May the 4th then. So basically every outstanding piece of Star Wars media they had access to on May the 4th, they went, there you go. Enjoy! So,
yeah, because Clone Wars is finished now.
Yeah.
They've done the last episode for it, so...
It is done, and the Clone Wars film is on there, but no one needs to watch that.
This god-awful, man. It's really bad.
I don't know if the original 2D series is on there. Actually, no, I think it is.
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, because that's one of the few ones that is not canon, but they're like, yeah, sure, there you go. Actually, because it's brilliant. That's good. Why. There's a werewolf Jedi. That Shaggy's a Jedi. It's amazing. I'm really curious now. Hang on.
What are you curious about?
May the Fourth be with you. I'm curious as to... So the Clone Wars movie is on there. Rebels, Solo, Resistance is on there, Last Jedi, Empire of Dreams, the story of the Star Wars trilogy, the documentary, all the Star Wars Lego shorts, a bunch of Star Wars Lego. Forces of Destiny is on there, so if you want to watch an HD on a TV, you can, folks. See, I was wondering whether or not they got to the point of putting like droids and Ewoks on there, but I guess if it's not canon, they're not going to bother, are they?
Well, no, because the Lego Star Wars stuff isn't canon.
Yeah, but that's clearly not canon. Whereas droids and Ewoks existed at a time where it kind of was, but
I think that might be
stuff
they're trying to sweep under the rug along with the holiday special.
I'm not even kidding. I will pay Disney Plus £4,000 a year if they put that on there. If they put that on there, I'll be like, how do I give you more money just to say thank you?
How do I shot web from my dick?
You're a bad car.
I'm a bad car. Let's do an email.
Let's do a big old chunky email.
Let's do a couple, but we've got a big old chunky one from Charlie, which is another...
Charlie Mingus.
Charlie Mingus, yeah.
The jazz trumpeter.
Charlie Chalk.
He's got a wacky way of walking.
Beloved children's TV character, Charlie Chalk. We've got a... Fuck me. We've got a big chunk email.
You sat on my sandwiches.
We could get our teeth into. It's another speculative one.
Right.
And the email is titled Swark TDT, sealed with a loving kiss, then thoroughly disinfected. Then disinfected thoroughly, I should say. So well done. He says, Charlie says, ahoy, my big damn boys. How are you both faring? I miss you dearly and can't wait to be back in your warm mank embraces. We can't wait to have you back, Charlie.
Dirty boy.
Oh, dirty boy. Inspired by your most recent episode when you talked about Matt finally having finished Buffy after the length of time it takes from birth to A-levels. Let that sink in.
Yep.
I wanted to pose you a question. You and the whole creative team of the original series have been contacted by Fox or WB or whoever it'd be. It'd probably be Disney at this point. It turns out that the order for 2 additional series after Series 5 back in the day was in fact an order for 3 additional series. So don't worry about what kind of insane clerical error could have ended you all up in this situation. You're there now. Deal with it. How would you go about storylining a new final series to Buffy the Vampire Slayer nearly 20 years on? Would you include plotlines from the comics or other extended media? If so, what and how? How have the characters changed and grown since we last saw them? Have all of them survived? I want one new big bad. Doesn't have to be the big bad for the season, but big enough to make an impact. I want a cast list for the new characters you want, plus those you plan on recasting from the old days. You have the reins, gentlemen. Now ride.
Dirty bastard.
Right, so...
We miss you, Charles.
I do miss you, Charlie.
Oh my god, so it's an 8th season of Buffy.
An 8th and final season. Think along the line... The thing that it reminds me of is the X-Files revival.
Okay, yeah. So it's like, it's done, but... Oh, wait, no. There is more.
Well, the X-Files was never done. And then they did bring it back, and then they made Mulder a 9/11 truther, and his new ally was Joel McHale playing a much more handsome Alex Jones style character. And I was like, oh god, was the X-Files bad all along? but then I've been watching it again, and no, it wasn't. It was just Chris Carter, this fucking idiot. So.
That seems to happen with a lot of 90s shows. Like, wait a minute, was Lois and Clark terrible? Because Dean Kane's a fucking monster. Then you watch Lois and Clark and you go, no, this is great. And Clark and Superman are fucking wonderful in this. Yeah. Like, no, I guess he just became a monster.
He's a bad one.
He's a bad Kyle L.
I would hope that all the original cast... Have we had any, like, tragic losses from the original cast that would be able to return? No one's dead, are they?
No. Characters that aren't around anymore, like, obviously include Anya.
Yeah, of course.
And Spike. But then again, Spike... I don't think we saw his ultimate fate, but then again, I've not read Angel Season 6.
After the Fall, it's called.
After the Fall, so I don't know...
In the comics, he does
come back. Fate is. Yeah, well, he's back... Spoiler alert, he's in Angel Season 5. And he does come back into the Buffy comics later, yeah.
Yeah. And as far as I'm aware, sticks around to the end.
Because it was 12 seasons in the end with the comics?
Yeah, but the season 12 was only like a 4-issue mini. It was a short one.
And it wrapped
up. Now they've rebooted it. Over at IMDb.
Yeah, I think it's Boom.
Is it Boom?
Yeah, it's Boom. I've got the first book of it.
Oh, okay.
Boom Studios. But the reboot is an Ultimate Comics style approach.
Yeah.
So it's basically saying, hey everybody, we're not scrapping everything. That version exists. This is like the What If universe.
Yeah, this is
it's set in high school, current day, and the likenesses of the actors are used, but this isn't like
updated for a new generation.
Yeah, I think one of the writers sort of said, like, think of The Wish, think of like the alternate timeline from The Wish. This is just like that. It's a different version of the universe where everything went different.
Yeah.
For example, Xander's one of the main cast members for like the first 2 arcs, and then is bitten and sired. And Xander's one of the villains of the book.
Nice.
and like Willow is dealing with coming out, but is like, no, she's gay from the off. And Spike and Drusilla are big bads early in it. Angel is mentally much younger than he is. Like, he's not like a dude who's sort of in his late 20s who's then lived for a couple hundred years as a vampire. Like, he's only been a vampire for like, I think about 100, and he's in his teens. And he isn't told to go to Sunnydale because, like, someone like Whistler is like, oh, you got to go there. There's something's going to happen and you need to be there for it. Like, he's investigating something else, and it eventually leads him into the story because Angel starts as its own series, and then they cross over in, like, the 4th Buffy arc. So it's like Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate X-Men, basically. It's pretty good. It is pretty good. But what I would do is kind of what season 12 of the comics did. I would set it absolutely, because I don't know how season 12 ends, but I would take that into consideration or ignore it. So the comics are their own arc.
See, I would ignore the comics.
Yeah, okay. If you can make it work, make it work. But if you can't, ignore them. Don't worry about it. Fans will accept it as here's the TV continuity. Here's the continuity where that last series doesn't happen.
Yeah, but I've only read the first arc of season 8 and then snippets of plot developments that happen as the series goes on.
So you know the name of the big bad in season 8 then?
It's Amy, isn't it?
No, but the name of the sort of, because it's almost like a super villain character. Twilight.
I know the Twilight's been mentioned, but I haven't seen the sort of
the villain is Twilight.
Yeah.
The villain of Buffy season 8, published in like 2007, is called Twilight.
But then there's stuff from the comics that I wouldn't necessarily use. Like, I don't want to do the whole world without magic thing. I don't want to do the Giles being killed and then resurrected in a teenage body stuff that they do later on.
Hey, work for Heroes Reborn.
Not that I have a problem with any of that stuff. Like, I just don't want to use it.
Yeah, you don't want that being there in the continuity.
I would like to come back to this universe after 20 years and explore how it's changed.
What I mainly mean when I say take from the comic books, like from that, is you do a mini series. You don't do a 22 episode season. You make it like a 5-episode event series. Each episode an hour. It's one story arc. And you tell a story the way the season 8 comic does, where in episode 1 you open in media res, like things are already the way they are in a new different status quo. Familiar characters are here doing this, other characters aren't there, and you're like, why? And someone mentions someone. It's like, look, we said we weren't going to talk about that. And you're like, why? What happened? And you just have to deal with it. Like it's Red Dwarf Back to Earth / Red Dwarf Series 10. Like treat it as season 9.
Yeah.
Like, other shit's happened between 7 and this. And we come into it, and it's got to be some kind of cataclysmic enough story to feel like a finale for these characters, even though we've been away from them for so long. So I think it can't be necessarily a, oh my god, the universe is going to end, oh my god, hell's going to swallow Earth kind of scenario. I think it has to start like that, and then that get resolved halfway through, and whatever it actually is that is the denouement of it all is a personal stakes kind of thing that can be accessible if you had only ever just watched these 5 episodes. It's got to basically be a 5-hour TV movie that is accessible to new viewers, but is a absolute treat for people who watched the entire show back in the day.
See, I do a longer season. I do a more full season. Not necessarily a 22 episode season, but a longer season. And because I like the Monster of the Week episodes.
Yeah,
and I feel
it's one of the things you love about old X-Files as well. Like
even when it only came back for 6 episodes, they managed to get a couple of Monster of the Week episodes in there. And what the Mulder and Scully meet the Were-Monster is one of the best X-Files episodes, period. Like, just hands down. And then that's because it had Darren Morgan writing it, who it wrote some of the great episodes from the original run, and it had Oh, what's his bloody name as the guest star who was brilliant?
Billy
Rhys
O'Hay.
Darby, thank you.
Rhys
Thank
Darby.
you. Rhys Darby as the guest star who was fucking brilliant. Like that was, but that was a Monster of the Week, not a Myth Arc episode. But I think Buffy ties its Myth Arc in with its Monster of the Week stuff so much more cleanly because
early on
think,
the Monster of the Week is an allegory about being a teenager, about being a young person, or later on an allegory about being a sibling, about responsibility, about being the matriarch of the family. Like early on that's how it works, and then later on, like you say, it's woven into the arc of each character's story.
Also because don't forget Joss Whedon comes from a background of being a big comics nerd where that stuff was developed before TV started doing it, really.
Yeah.
Because
there's a reason so many shows that people have fallen in love with over the last 20 years are all like, oh, our inspiration was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Because Buffy sort of rewrote the rulebook on what a 22-episode season of American television could be.
Well, towards the end of the original run of the show, he was basically doing the X-Men.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is what he wanted to do all along. Like, that's why there's a bigger cast and more people.
With abilities and the soap opera drama starts to kick in more. And you can see tastes of it in season 3 and 4, actually, can't you?
Yeah. But I would continue on in that vein. Yeah. What I would do is have the big bad be a Splinter Slayer faction.
Shit, because I was going to say, like, would your setting be like an Xavier's School for the Gifted, but like Buffy is essentially sort of taking inspiration from season 8. She's schooling potentials. Like, she's in charge of what was the Watcher's job, and she's like, no, fuck that. The Slayers are going to run the Slayers, and we're going to look out for it. But then, of course, naturally, the enemy would be a different sect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would be the threat. Because they deal with demons and vampires all the fucking time. Like, that's an average Tuesday. But... So
Buffy and the Scoobs would have spent the last 20 years, like, establishing a new network of Slayers and a reformed Watcher Council under Giles and Dawn. Dawn being sort of like the first generation of these new Watchers.
Yeah.
Which are much more technically minded, much more proactive, and less, old crusty manny. I think you would, over the last 20 years, you would have seen a bit of the supernatural creep more into normal life.
Oh, especially because, like, suddenly thousands of girls across the planet became super strong one day.
So I think you're at the point where, not necessarily that the masquerade has been lifted, but it's all but
people know there's more out there. Especially the internet's grown.
Yeah, people know there are vampires. There's still misinformation and myths and romanticization of vampire and demons, but it's...
Oh my god, you could absolutely do a thing where somebody's a Stephanie Meyer's, like, author of vampire romance fiction, and there's this whole thing of, like, this is really insensitive.
And there is, of course, a movement for vampire and demon rights.
Yes!
Which absolutely applies to some vampires and demons, but not necessarily the vampires and demons that are just bloodthirsty monsters that want to eat your flesh. And possibly also your soul. Or maybe just your soul.
Rehab center for vampires. Like, people who've just been, like, immediately... have been sired, they've been found, and they've been sent to the center, so it's essentially like an asylum for people who've recently been converted. I understand that you're not Jennifer anymore, but the demon that is piloting Jennifer needs to conform as a member of society. You can still be useful. We can put you to work at night.
I would split up the original gang by having Buffy is the sort of de facto leader, but sort of Heavy is the head that wears the crown leader of this.
Leaning into that season 7 thing.
This just a development of that, but she's old, she's 20 years older. She's seen some shit.
Yeah.
She's still a frontline fighter, but she's starting to get slow.
Deal with her mortality a bit more.
Yeah, not because, she'd only be, barely 40.
Just in her 40s, yeah. But she'll
Yeah,
be battle scarred.
but-
She'll have punched her way
She'll have
through.
been through so much. She's died 3 times at this point, or something stupid like that, or twice.
Yeah.
She's died twice already.
Oh shit! No, oh
Um,
my god! You could have it so that between the seasons, at some point, there's been
She's
another
died
event
again.
where she has died and been brought back. And whenever someone tries to bring it up, they're like, "Look, no, like, not we're not talking about it." And not in
Yeah,
a
we're
big
not doing
overly
that again.
dramatic way, just in like a, yeah, like this is par for the course. Like, ignore it. Which she doesn't want to talk about it. It's an annoying time in her life, or rather, not life. Just don't bring it up.
I would have Xander running.
You have a new potential character be like, didn't she die 3 times? They're like, we don't talk about that one. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
what was
Let
that?
it go.
And it just keeps getting mentioned every now and again.
Let it go. I'd have Xander running sort of infrastructure and
It's
sort
similar
of
to season 8
public
kind of.
facing stuff. Yeah. So he's not in the sort of not in the Nick Fury way that season 8 plays with.
Keep
not in
the
the sort
eye
of-
patch. Keep
Yeah.
the eye patch.
Keep the eye patch.
I think by this point he's probably got a false eye in, hasn't he? Let's be
Not in the
honest.
not in the sort of militarized way, but sort of in the he's like maybe move from construction into real estate, and he's using that to sort of funnel resources to
Yes.
to the Slayers.
He's
yeah,
able to
Giles.
he's able to get them a facility off book.
Yeah. Giles and Dawn running the Watcher Council.
Mm-hmm.
And the new, well, not the Watcher Council anymore, more of the Watcher Network. With Giles being the sort of the old school and librarian style, and Dawn being the new sort of internet savvy.
Yeah.
Internet savvy.
38-year-old down with the kids, Dawn.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. Like, even Dawn will start to be getting out of touch by this point, so she'll have people under her
Yeah.
who are basically turning everything into
Oh my
apps,
God.
and she doesn't get it.
Is
this,
that our in? Is our in a new character who's employed by Dawn?
a sort of a Watcher intern who's employed by Dawn?
Shit! There you go. The show's called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but like this is our eyes and ears into the world and how
Yeah.
it is now.
And you have that relationship of Dawn starting to realise why Giles was always so exasperated with the Scoobies the first time round. Because now she's nearing that sort of... She's out of touch, but she's
Yeah.
becoming out of touch faster
Yeah.
than Giles did. And Giles has almost come...
The intern's explaining the workings of an app or whatever. Dawn's like, you've completely lost me. And Giles goes,
Yeah.
oh, but that's where we put it with this, that, the other. And the intern's like, yeah. And Dawn's like, the fuck? Like, she's...
Yeah, he's gone full circle almost. Like, he's
He's got to the point where he's like, yeah, look, because he done all those scenes where he's talking about like the importance of old archiving and books and keeping things in that solid state, and he's got to the point where he's like, no, fuck it, like I've invested in the cloud, I own space, that is where I put all my stuff. It's better than a demon coming in here and burning everything down and getting rid of it. I've had 20 years, I've scanned every page, like I have everything backed up. I don't need these books. If these set on fire, I'm not going to shed a tear anymore because what's in them is more important than them. I've learnt that now. I'm in my 60s.
Yes.
Oh my god, they go to his apartment for like the first time. Like they've not seen his new place, and it's literally just like so minimal.
Yeah.
Like so minimal. Just like smart TV, tidied
I
away
think
wires, like Alexa in every room, a coaster like on a table. Like that's the most on the table because he's like, I don't need stuff.
I think he's probably gone back to his sort of like rock and rollery early days.
Yeah,
like he's probably grown his hair out and got a big shaggy beard. He's almost a bit
definitely
the
beard.
but not lazy.
Definitely beard. Definitely beard.
He's just like, so he's gone a bit hippie. He's gone a bit old hippie. And probably spends a lot more time drunk.
Rippy.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey.
For the main conflict. The main conflict for me would come from, so the Slayer sort of network will have stayed more or less underground for the last 20 years, but the end of the season one, the end of episode 1 would be everything being made public, and then coming under scrutiny for like what could be construed as acts of terrorism against citizens being vampires or vampire sympathizers.
Yeah.
And it would be a case of they would have been orchestrated by a splinter faction of the Slayer, the Slayer network, who want to use that, turn public sentiment against them, and then use that to piggyback a power grab.
Yeah.
To try and get their claws on like administration and a hook into the government, and sort of like, we're the most powerful people on the planet. Why aren't we ruling? Why aren't we making the decisions?
I think I know who the big bad is.
Who's the big bad?
Whoever's leading this Slayer faction is a Slayer. They're also a vampire. Because there are more Slayers in the world now.
So there would be vampire slayers.
Exactly.
Literal slayers who are vampires.
It used to be that a vampire found a slayer. There was like this sort of unwritten law of, you better kill them. Like, you better have you got them at your mercy? Kill them now. Like, they're the slayer. Kill them. But that was when there was one, and every time they died, another activated and eventually took on the mantle.
Yeah.
Now they're around the place. So you know that the toughest vampire out there at some point has been like, I'm going to find a slayer and I'm going to beat the crap out of it. And we basically get some kind of twisted mirror version of the Buffy Angel story.
Yeah, okay.
And do you know what I mean? So we can have that thing where a vampire takes a slayer, sires them, that eventually, like, something's gone down where that vampire, because tragedy is interwoven throughout the history of the characters in villain and good guy roles within the show as well.
Yeah.
Like, you have two vampires in coexistence, and one was a slayer, and it's about that power. Eventually, that thing, something's got to happen where the vampire is gone, and the slayer, who is now a vampire, is like, this has to change. Like, I am changing this now. Like, I can do this. Because it means that you have that wonderful thing of, like, the vampire slayer is versing, like you said, the vampire slayer. Like, that's who you're going... Two vampire slayers, but both sentences mean something completely different, are going head to head. Because before, you killed the slayer and that's it. Now, there's more slayers, so more chances to try something they never tried before. Siring one. Like, this is, and... I don't know, I like that idea.
No, that's a good idea. I like that.
Does that work? Okay. Keep it.
So sort of a literal vampire who is a slayer.
Yeah.
And a bunch of rogue watchers. Spike...
go on,
Spike is running the program to rehabilitate vampires.
Now, that's going to be a tough one, because if we're ignoring the comics, he's not around. Because he's around in Angel. Angel ends on a cliffhanger of them all facing the hordes of hell.
Yeah.
So how do we get around the fact he's there?
They dealt with that. Okay,
but are we going to acknowledge it in the show? Because if someone's only watched Buffy, they're going to be like, hang on, he died in the last episode. Why is he here?
Yeah, but you've got a lot of like...
Maybe you lead to him. Maybe you lead to him, so he's in like episode 4 or 5 is when it introduces, here's what Spike is currently doing. And...
Or when he's introducing, like, he's like running a group for these trying, like, really rehabilitated vampires, like an AA group.
Yeah.
Or a VA group, Vampires Anonymous.
Oh shit! I just realised. Maybe Buffy and that don't even know he's out there.
No, I think he's affiliated with the network.
Yeah, but maybe they don't know it's Spike. But one of them does, because that's a dramatic revelation you can play on. One of them is aware that it's him, and they've spoken with him.
It'd be Willow.
Do you think she'd be the go-between?
Yeah, because she'd be supporting them with magic.
Yeah. Can we keep her like, what's it, like a demon snake lady lover from another dimension from the comics? Because that was such a fucking cool element.
You can have really some cool.
So
sort of weird...
her lover is on a different plane of magical existence, and they commune through that. They're understand because it's about her learning more about, the way she connects to like everybody through the scythe in the last episode, and you realise, there is a good route for her. She was terrified of addiction, but if she goes this way, she is going to learn to be the best she can be and the best for everyone. And the way they dealt with that in the comics is she starts to her world starts to like kind of cross over massively with the stuff we don't see. And
I think there's definitely
love fuels her education, not addiction.
She's gone further and further into the study of magic, and has gone beyond and seen things that no one else can.
Yeah.
And is the leader of a massive coven.
Yeah.
That does all sorts of like white magic outreach and sort of under the cover arcane humanitarian aid.
Yeah.
And absolutely have her be in some sort of strange, elusive, transcendental, interdimensional relationship. Absolutely.
Maybe Willow doesn't fully manifest for everyone. Like it's almost like she's not on our plane of existence anymore.
I would want to keep her grounded because I would want her. I'd want her to not have sort of seem like she's lost her humanity.
Okay, yeah.
Not that she ever would, I don't think, but I want her to keep her firmly tethered to Earth. And it's like, yeah, she wants to explore beyond the veil of the mortal, but also wants to use what she learns to help the people. And not just like magic for magic's sake, but magic for making the world a better place. She's very...
Yeah, that's absolutely the art angle she's clearly going to go down in the last episode. It's like, this is what you can be.
That
makes sense.
And sort of spreading that out and sort of, again, bringing magic more into the public eye, but fighting against stereotypes and bad actors in the terms of, like, black magic movements and dark covens.
Yeah, because you could absolutely do something with Amy if you wanted.
Oh yeah, have her be
in a world where we can't have Ethan Rayne, unfortunately. You could absolutely,
of course.
You could absolutely do Amy and have something like that. Can at one point our characters have to hide out in a location somewhere else, a la Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and they're essentially their backup facility that's doing something else on the side is run by Andrew?
Yeah.
So we can have our Andrew fix, but Tom Lenk is basically in the Patton Oswalt role of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. I think Andrew would have remained part of the new Slayer network.
Yeah,
I think he would have joined Dawn in helping to establish the new Watchers.
Oh, for sure, but as part of like the show returning to do its thing after 20 years away, I think he would have to be an element that wasn't necessarily there immediately.
No.
But was
he's
like,
part of the
old fans who are sticking with this new series. We're 10 episodes in. Motherfucking Andrew, ladies and gentlemen, there he is. And it's like, yay! So he's detached, but he was absolutely part of what created it. And it means we get Tom Lenk at his best, which is like in these concentrated short bursts of the character where the character is mature, but still that socially awkward idiot that we grew to love.
He's part of the larger whole, but yeah, he's not definitely.
He feels like he has to atone still. Like he feels like he has to do something right after killing his best friend. That's why I love the storytelling, because I love that last scene where it's like, Jesus, like he acts his balls off in that last scene.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to see that he's turned that to something positive and maybe he's like Plan B. He's in charge of Plan B when things go to shit. After the rival lot have like outed them and they've got to get out of there somewhere. Can Buffy Summers be named publicly in a way that means that everybody and their dad is like trying to sue her for stuff from people who were from Sunnydale? Because I love the idea of it being like they're pursuing her for like a fine for like $17,000 or something. It's like, why? Like, why? What's that for? And it's like, you stole and never returned a bazooka when you were 16 years of age and used it at a train station. And this is literally just minor property damage and some costs toward the repair of the gun, but it's increased. Okay. So it was like $100, and now it's like 17 grand or something stupid like that. It's like, fuck! Just so you've got those weird minor stupid problems. Because when you're a teenager, you're dealing with all the stuff that the monsters were an allegory for. When you're an adult, it's bills, it's keeping on top of your money.
Yeah,
Yeah. So like the things she did as a kid are now like basically the stuff she's having to pay for.
And I think that's part of what Xander does in his job as sort of like helping to keep everything afloat.
He would absolutely be their public relations dude. You're right.
Yeah.
He would, because he would now be confident enough to be like, so yeah, okay, like let's get me on the morning talk show. Let's try and iron things out, make it work.
He's sort of smoothed out his sort of awkwardness.
Yeah.
And become a bit more of a smooth talker. In his older age, in his middle age, I suppose.
Shit! After everything's exposed, you can start to do that thing of right. So you killed this person, yes, because they thought they were possessed by the spirits of this like hyena demon. Yeah. So you killed a man. Well, no, we killed the demon. Yeah, but it was It was in that person. And you could get into that thing of like one of them is like put on trial publicly for this kind of thing of like, you killed a person. It's like, but they're not. It wasn't them anymore. It's like you're saying you possibly could have turned them to a person. Well, I don't know, but do you know what I mean? You could get into the morality of like, because so many of the entities they face, especially in the first couple of seasons, if they're not physical monsters, are possessions or demonic inhabitants, like vampires. There's the whole argument that it's not the person anymore, it's something riding around in their dead body. But Spike and Angel have now proved that the soul can be returned. Shit, you could do a whole episode where they get into the whole thing of the wider knowledge now that, so the soul is real. The soul is a real thing, and what does this mean? I mean, it'd be too much for one season, but you could even have like a Hugo Strange-like character who really wants to get to the bottom of everything about Buffy. Like, someone who's higher up enough to actually fuck with their lifestyle and stop things from going smoothly. Who's like, you have died multiple times. You've been somewhere else. I want to know where... Go religious fundamentalism. Have it be someone who's religious, who's just, like, determined to be like, you disprove so much of what I believe in, and yet you confirm so much more of it. I want to know what's real. Someone who get like, but you know, I mean, Hugo Strange is just like a template. Someone who's like, I will get inside your head. I want to know what the hell all of this is about. And if you do Monster of the Week, you better bring back Sid the Dummy for an episode. Good God, you better bring back Sid the Dummy for an episode. Yeah,
I've got some casting for you.
Because they never destroyed the dummy.
I've got some casting for you. So the villainous vampire slayer.
Yeah.
I want Shannon Woodward.
Rings a bell. Who is it? Was it?
She's in the first 2 seasons of Westworld. She's
I
also
know
going to be in Last of Us Part 2.
Okay.
For the vampire that sired her.
Yeah.
I want Ty Burrell. Doing Sinister.
Yes.
Playing against Type and doing Sinister.
God, he'd be brilliant. He'd be really good.
I think so.
Damn, yeah.
I want Jessica Henwick as one of the Slayers, one of the good Slayers, so to speak.
Okay. She's your lady from Doctor Sleep, right?
No, Jessica Henwick.
That's Rebecca Ferguson, isn't it?
Jessica Henwick is Iron Fist.
Oh, Colleen Wing.
Colleen Wing.
Got you. I was thinking of Rebecca Ferguson for some reason.
And
God, Jessica Henwick could be really good actually, because this would give her another chance to shine in a genre thing that's available on a network and not a streaming service.
Yes.
Sorry, what? Yeah. That was beautiful.
Mike Coulter's not doing much at the moment, is he? Let's get him in. Let's get him in as one of the sort of like police / military liaisons with the Slayer network.
Okay. Do you know how we make that work?
How do you make that work?
He's a smooth motherfucker, right? Who's the previous smooth motherfucker in Buffy? It's D.B. Woodside as Principal Wood, who was alive.
I completely forgot about Principal Wood.
Now, D.B. Woodside, picture Mike Coulter, and tell me that they could not be playing brothers. And that's how they get the liaison with, like, police or what have you. You have one, like, literally uses connection. This is how they're getting by. They're making it work. I don't
know. That's a hell of a retcon.
Well, we don't know that Wood's an only child for sure. Oh, it could be stepbrother or something like that.
Foster brother?
Cousin. Like, have a familial connection, but only because those two... Now you've said it, I want to see those two in a scene together, because Coulter reminds me so much of D.B. Woodside. And
God, that would be fucking excellent,
I think it's the tone of voice and the fact they're both about 6'7".
Yeah.
Like, they would be a lot of fun. I like the idea, because D.B. Wood, we saw Principal Wood cool as a cucumber until we started to get into the Spike stuff and his mum.
Yes.
Now, the only way you could really introduce conflict for him now is if there was some kind of like, irritant force up against him, and it has to be something that twists the knife a bit. It's got to be sort of family's close to home for him. Of course, with his mum, it's explained. But
yeah,
if it's someone else from the family, like that'd be someone who could get under his skin. Because I think I don't know about you, I think he and Buffy end up together. Or they've been together for a large portion of the time after the show.
No, Robin Wood?
Yeah.
No, he was going to get together with Faith.
They do introduce that, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think that would be good for Faith as well. I don't know if Faith is still around. I think she might have gone down swinging by this point.
Oh my
I
God,
think,
could you imagine?
I think
Just
Robin
throw
Wood
away
got together
mentions.
with Faith.
Just throw away mentions in the first few episodes to Faith not being there anymore. Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
And I think Robin Wood has had to sort of bear the loss of his mother and the loss of his partner, wife, whatever they ended up being.
True. So he wouldn't be around anymore, I suppose, would he? But we've got to get him in there somewhere.
I think he would be around because I think he'd still be fighting the good fight, but I think he'd be carrying a lot of tragedy. Oh no, I'd flip it because I don't want to fridge Faith.
Then again, you don't have to fridge her because we could eventually show what's really happening. Maybe she is part of something further afield, or
no, because I like the idea he sort of helped Faith curb her worst impulses, but then she's lost him. But she's managing to keep on the straight and narrow because of the memory of him.
Mm.
And then, but that also means that Mike Coulter's character he is working with the Slayer network, but he has a strained relationship because he lost his foster brother, stepbrother, whatever. That's what I'd do, is something like that. And get DB Woodside back for some flashback stuff, because he's fucking great. Then
again, though, I kind of like the idea of finding out that Faith and Wood have been doing their own thing, and we eventually catch up to them.
Or maybe she's like so maybe she faked to death to go underground.
Yeah, and the two of them are.
Actually, the Slayer network are already underground, so how much do you want to go underground?
Well, that's true, but it depends on what they're doing. Like,
yeah,
they might already have a lead on something or other that took them away, and it's been like 10 years since everyone else has seen them, and it's something they've had to have gone like shit deep undercover with, like really deep undercover to do if they want to do it. Because Faith would be that kind. She would be that kind of person where she's like, right, if I can't go in guns blazing, then we're going to do it your way. How do you want to go about it? And he's like, we have to be the polar opposite of that. Do you know what I mean? And it shows you how much she's changed as well, because like she's always wanted to be the best at this. Like, she's sort of wanted a normal life, but she's resigned to the idea that that's never going to happen. Now that everyone's not normal, there are Slayers everywhere, part of her still is impetuous enough that she wants to stand out, and her way of standing out is by completely disappearing and doing something like so unfaith-like. In a world where people are suddenly aware that a load of girls randomly became superpowered one day. Because presumably as well, since that day, because that was the thing, anyone who could be a Slayer is a Slayer. So that means people born since.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So maybe, I don't know, something started to affect that, or I don't know. I just like the idea of finding out that Faith and Wood have been doing their own thing. Who knows? I don't know. Are you taking more people from the MCU?
No. I want a Dark Coven.
Oh.
And I want it to be one of which is a former student of Willow's that has fallen to the dark side, I should say. When
Willow eventually confronts her, can she keep calling Willow strawberries? Just because she knows it's going to fucking annoy her.
I fucking hated that. I hate it so much.
Exactly. So if they did it, you'd be like, oh, get them, Willow. Kick their ass, Willow.
No. I want to get Pearl Mackie in there as part of this Dark Coven. I want to get Michelle Gomez on it.
Oh God, she's got to be in there, but I don't know.
But then she is in she's
in
Sabrina
as Satan. So
damn it.
What if she play? What again? You do against type. Give her a super full on good guy role somewhere in the series.
Yeah,
like where she's just like the loveliest. Like lean more into the quirky professory kind of character for her.
Yeah, maybe.
Instead of the devilish villain, because we know she can do villain, and that way it would be a surprise because people would be like, "Oh, I thought she'd be playing a baddie," and instead she's like this, this Nanny McPhee style, like really oddball good guy character. Okay, sure, like that's different.
But let's get after seeing her in full fucking scenery chewing crazy villain mode, I want Angie Mahindra to be
lovely Angeli, yeah.
To be the crazy bad witch who lured one of Willow's students away.
Oh shit! Yeah, because she did really. What was it? What was the character? Is it the Skithra?
Yeah. I want her to do more scenery chewing stuff, but without all the makeup, and just be crazy evil.
That would be good. She would absolutely nail that, actually.
So I want to get a couple of Doctor Who alumni in there as
of course, because that's
Dark Witches.
That's the show that owes like the
biggest
of Doctor
debt
Who owes the biggest debt to Buffy.
To Buffy, really?
Yeah.
I'm just looking to see if there's any people who I really enjoyed in that I would want to put in Buffy somewhere. Let me think.
Sorry, what?
But yeah, I think I'd like to get a couple other witches there. I think that's a good shout. I'm just trying to think of some other people.
I want to get some more of those witches.
Yeah.
You know what I think? Witches.
I want to put Jeffrey Wright in it somewhere, but that's because I've just finished season 3 of Westworld, and I just want to put Jeffrey Wright in everything.
Understandable.
Because he's so fucking good. Everyone's great in that show. Like fucking the season that's just gone, fucking Evan Rachel Wood, Tandy Newton, fucking Vincent Cassell, Aaron Paul, Jeffrey Wright, Luke Hemsworth, just firing on all cylinders all the way down. I'm like, fucking Tessa Thompson. Jesus Christ, it's been so good. I can't just put them all in this because that's a bad.
Because that's a bad.
That's a bad. That's just taking the cast of one show and putting them in another.
It's not always the worst thing. Sometimes
it's
it
not
works
always
out for
the worst thing. It does work out for the BS. Yeah. I don't know. That's where I'd go with it. It being a grab for power by a faction of the Slayer network that ends up turning the public against the newly exposed Slayers, and they're sort of fighting off public opinion and trying to make a case for their existence. Why did some demon? I think there needs to be a degree of working out that you can coexist with some demons.
Yeah,
like it's not black and white. There are demons that can integrate, and I'm not even integrate because that sort of conjures up sort of bad connotations in the terms of like forced immigration and people being transplanted from, like, it's the kind of thing you'd say about people of African descent who are descended from slaves, that they've got to integrate into white. I don't want to get into that. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's more about learning to share the world that you have rather than be like possessive of it to the point of murder. And I think there's room to do that, but also know that there are some things that need to be fought. There are some darks that need to be fought, and maybe I think part of Spike's big role in it would be helping the vampires and the demons to realize that they're not born evil.
Yeah.
That there is a way forward. And sort of, so almost it goes from being the Slayer network having a splinter group that discredits them so they can make a bid for power, to it becoming about Buffy and the good, quote unquote, portion of the Slayer network trying to work towards a world that doesn't necessarily need Slayers at all.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah.
So that's how I'd end. That's how I'd do a 8th and final season of Buffy.
Okay. Jesus, that is. Can we see this? Can we see this now? Me make see now. Me make want see now.
Me make now.
Me
Hello
soon
Disney.
now.
Hello Disney.
Didn't your arm Buffy? Didn't
Do you have any more thoughts on an 8th and final Buffy season?
I just want to see this one, to be honest. At this point. I just want it. I want it in my mouth. I want it now. I want it in my mouth. I want it now.
Oh, and also we'd have to get some Doug Jones creatures in there.
Oh, God, yeah. Actually, I'll tell you what. Any specific returning monsters or villains you'd want to see in there somewhere?
The Gnarl.
The Gnarl's dead, Matt. The Gnarl is dead.
But what
as
about,
much as you love it, it's dead. The Gnarl is dead.
Is he the only Gnarl?
Probably. Like you can't.
Okay.
It's like the Weeping Angel. You can't have multiple Gnarls because that's not as interesting as one creepy Gnarl.
Fair.
Although
fair.
there is a series, one episode of Angel, another one with the I can't remember which one now, but there's one where the Gnarl's first appearance, technically in that universe, is as an illustration in a book in an episode of Angel about 2 years before it appears in Buffy. So maybe there is more than one, but I don't know. Because the temptation for me would be to bring back older recurring villains, like, you know what I mean? You find a way to get like a Drusilla flashback in there and things like that. But maybe it's an excuse to do more creature featurey stuff with the budgets they could get away with now. Like imagine having to face like a Hellmouth outbreak now with the budget you could pour into it. Yeah, because those initial puppets look great, and it serves its purpose in series 1 and in the Zeppo. Like it absolutely serves its purpose. But imagine now if like all that just like horrible writhing, like fleshy tendril stuff is just like climbing out of a hole in the ground. And,
I think it's less that I'd like to see specific things return, and more
apart from Sid the Dummy, obviously.
Apart from Sid the Dummy.
I'm not even joking about that. I want
more
Sid
the Dummy needs to be a regular member of the Slayer network. It needs to be one of their key operatives.
He's their covert operative.
Yeah,
because they literally smuggle him in suitcases.
Do you think that he takes? Do you think that he changes his appearance to be different dolls / toys? As the mission dictates.
I think he's able to temporarily transfer his soul into another item for a small period of time, because part of his curse is that he's stuck in the dummy, and he has moved on. He has moved on to heaven, but like someone could have brought him back. It's possible. Like Chaos Bleeds prove that he's not. You know, it's not impossible to bring him back.
Do you think Willow might have encountered him on a transcendental travels?
Maybe
through the realms of dimensional planes.
Maybe
I reckon so.
What was the demon? I'm thinking of series 1 because there's so much like 90s stuff you could play around with. What was the iRobot Eugene creature?
I want to say it was Moloch, but I don't think it was.
You're right.
Was it Moloch?
The demon Moloch onto the internet, where he becomes a sentient malware and gains a cult following. Yeah,
we could do some more with Moloch.
You could absolutely do more with that, like give it a different body, or make it an online virus.
Yeah,
like the internet in 1997 is very different from the internet now.
Ain't that the truth?
So you could do more with that, and I like the idea that it's coming back for Willow. And she's like, right, there are multiple reasons why I'm not interested in you.
There are many
several reasons why I'm not interested in you now, my friend. Do you bring back Oz?
Possibly.
I think the problem with doing all this is you end up bringing back everybody.
Yeah.
So I think you need to stick to your Series 7 survivors if you're going to have people around.
I think maybe have like a little cameo from him of like when everything becomes more public, that he's like a werewolf spokesperson and such.
Yeah.
Or a leader in the not necessarily the lycanthrope, but the
he's opened like an institute that takes care of people for that and is able to help them quell it. Like it's almost like they've got it's like a hotel equipped for werewolves. So the idea is that like you
a hotel for dog people.
Yeah, you book yourself in on your lunar cycle. You are locked in your cell. You are fed. You are looked after, and then you are released afterwards and all this stuff. Werewolf rights. Hashtag
sit down therapy
rights.
Groups and such. Yeah. like I said, I don't necessarily want to see a bunch of returning creatures, but I want to see them do more bipedal humanoid stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're also
Because
gonna
they'll have the budget
have stupid teenagers getting a hold of like demonic texts through online archiving. So there's going to be a lot more fires to put out now in the world.
Maybe there's been a hack of the Watcher archives.
Yeah.
And a bunch of grimoires and demonology texts have gotten out into the wild, and people are doing stupid shit with them.
You could flat out do a Cabin in the Woods style kind of episode where just like you bring back a shitload of demons from across the series history in one episode, where like one kid has just fucked around with the stuff. Maybe he's like, oh my god, he's developed a what's the software thing you do where you coding. He's done coding and he's developed a software a cycle thing that puts through literally like Microsoft SAM. And it just reads aloud about a bunch of incantations.
Yeah.
Because do you know what I mean? Because like the first couple are like ones that will get him wealth and power or something like that. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to set it off and it's going to translate it and read it out. And then literally the computer crashes. Like it has a moment where it freezes and he can't move the fucking mouse.
Yeah.
Do you know when your computer just stops, but like if you listen to a video of music, it's still playing, you're like, oh, for God's sake. And you can't turn it off because you can't do anything. That happens. And it like reads like the next sort of 40 passages of the various things and summons a boatload of demons. So he can do it in like his high school library. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not got a laptop at home. He's not got here's a Monster of the Week one for you. He's not got his own stuff. Like his family aren't doing too well. He's like, oh my god, but I found this thing, and if it works, we're gonna get wealth and power. And then it freezes, and it just keeps trying stuff. So basically, they're having to go into the school building to get to this computer, turn it off, and deal with it. But along the way, you're encountering like the Kinderstod and a lone gentleman, and just like a shitload of stuff is coming out at them. Like the big bloody snake thing from series 2, the sorority one, and like. Do you know what I mean? Just like every kind of like throwaway but visually interesting monster you can get away with remaking for a one-off. Just so it's like, so if anyone's watching for the first time, just sees it as, oh my god, look at these interesting monsters. But everyone who's watched the show goes, holy shit, it's a who's who of obscure creatures from the show. This is great.
Request. Can this misguided teen be played by Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things?
Yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Oh my god, there's your Sid. That's how you get Sid the Dummy back. It's a self-contained Chaos Bleeds, because like he gets brought back or whatever and put in a thing, and it's like, what the hell? And he's like, I was in heaven motorboating some boobies. What's happening? It's like, oh shit. Well, basically, we've got to get to this kid. He's like, give me a knife.
I like what you did there.
Let's go. That could be a two-parter in the middle of the series. Like, we're gonna have a viewer slump, right? Monster Fest. Like, Let's do it. Come on in.
It's the Sweeps Week episode.
You want to see the judge again? Fuck it. Here's the judge. Like, in he comes. Robot Buffy, that's not a demon. Fuck it, it's here anyway. Like,
yeah, sure, go. Why not? We'll do some digital de-aging on Sarah Michelle Gellar and bring back the Buffy bot.
Oh my god. Because obviously if you've got someone, you could send a couple characters in, you've got the ones who are a bit more trigger happy. Because they're just like, we don't need to necessarily put every genie back in its bottle. We just need to kill them or keep them at bay long enough to get to this thing and reverse it. Like, all they've got to do is like literally reverse the program, whatever, and that'll get rid of them. So you have this like throwaway sequence of them just storming through the corridors of the school building. And you've obviously got someone like Spike who doesn't give a shit, really. It's like, I've not been violent for a very long time because I don't want to be. But these things are monsters, and that used to be the way I blew off steam, so cool. I just love the idea of them like storming through. The music room is just blasting like crazy. Mm-hmm. And you've got, like, Sweet is there, and some of the characters immediately start bursting into song, and whoever just takes the biggest weapon they've got, points it at Sweet and shoots him in the fucking face. So he knocks down, the musical stops for a moment, it's like, we good? Okay, and then you just keep going. Do you know what I mean? Like, there you go, everyone. There's your throwaway to Once More Feeling. There it is. You know that Hinton Battle would be like, look, I won't put the makeup on, but if you want me to voice him, I'll do it. Like, I'll absolutely do it. Just a who's who. Just a who's who.
I don't think we can top that.
It'd be fun. Like, it sounds like finale. No, finale's got to have those emotional stakes you've been setting up for your arc. But stick that in the middle, and I'm a happy boy. That could be your X-Files, Mulder and Scully versus the
were monster,
the Booglefuck or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. Mulder and Scully versus the Googleplex. Let's call it a show.
Let's call it a goddamn.
We managed to get 2 hours out of 2 months into the lockdown. I'm impressed. I'm going to call that a success.
I think that's a rip-roaring you say, son.
Thanks, Charles, as always, for your thought-provoking and wonderful emails. We could probably get a whole show out of one of your emails one of these days. We basically just did. So it's almost like you're a guest, but not quite. You're here in spirit.
Like that Shel Silverstein poem. Almost, but not quite.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and non-binary folk, thank you for listening to this episode of the Big Damn Cast. We've been your hosts. As always, follow us on Twitter at Big Damn Cast for updates and what's going on. Twitch.tv/BigDamnStream for streams, and of course, Twitch.tv/official CDJ for Chris's more regular streams, because he's all over this right now.
It's like I have nothing else to do.
Yes, I was gonna stream out some Minecraft today, and then I went on and you were already streaming, so I was like, better not. So I'm gonna try and fit that around your schedule when I can. So yeah, that's been a show. Thank you.
Really big show.
You want to send in any more missives? You can do at bigdamncontact@gmail.com.
That's bigdamncontact@gmail.com.
But yeah, thank
so
you,
I'll repeat
folks.
it because people might have farted at that moment.
Yeah, well, I very nearly did.
I've been doing it throughout the entire recording.
I've got some gases building up in my belly because I've had 4 cans of Pepsi. Not during the show, not during the recording, just over the last few hours. But yes, be well, take care of each other, don't do anything fucking stupid, and follow the one-way signs in supermarkets. I've been Matt. Chris has been fiddling with his fringe.
Yeah, I'm chewing my fringe, but ultimately I'm also chewing my fringe. This is where we are, folks. We're at this point of the lockdown. I'm eating my own hair. It's that low.
Yes. Look at them bangs.
Look at them bangs.
And with that, we shall bid you adieu. Goodbye, people.
Goodbye, good folk. Hashtag bring back Sid the Dummy. Sid the Dummy, thick.
Change.org/Sid the Dummy.